I'm going to take you behind the scenes and meet Maria. She is the owner of That's How We Roll Bakery. She is known to have those good warm buttermilk cinnamon rolls. So let's go behind the scenes and find out how she's rolling that dough. So how are you? How do you feel, my dear?
Good.
Good. Okay. And you look great, by the way.
Well, thank
you. Absolutely. So this is it, eh?
Yes.
This wonderful bakery here. And you are here in Port Huron, Michigan. You're just serving the community in silence with all of these great treats, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. Now, I want to start off by asking you, by being a business owner, what was the hardest part about opening up your business?
Taking the leap to do it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now, what steps did you take that big leap to do it?
I have a passion for cooking, and I didn't want to stop baking. So I wanted to do this. And when my brother decided he was going to close his party store, the landlord who was here had found me because he had saw everything I was doing on Facebook, all the farmers markets, all the fairs I was doing. He saw the ambition I had.
Wow.
So he saw what I had, and he goes, honey, I have an opportunity for you. And it started off by one of my coworkers was getting her hair done, and she wanted cherry chip cookies, just like she had in school. So she told her, go find Maria Hill on Facebook, and she will show you, she'll make them for you. So she called me up, I made them for her, and she goes, why are you out here? And I said, I'm here because my brother-in-law owns the party store. And she's like, oh, well, why don't you come by me? There's a place over in Kroger's parking lot that has an empty building. I'll talk to the landlord. So he called me, he researched me on Facebook, he saw what I was doing, and he's like, come take a look at this place. So I came in, I looked, I was debating, and then I didn't say anything to anybody. And then I called him back, we talked about the details, and he's like, it's an offer you can't refuse. He's like, no one's gonna give you an opportunity like this.
Wow.
So then when my brother-in-law decided that he was going to close it, he says, I'm closing it in October, we're gonna be done. So I thought to myself, do I wanna do this? And I'm like, I do. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna do this. I signed the papers. I told my husband in September, and he's like, you did what? I said, I did. He goes, did you tell anybody else? I said,
so you really did discuss it with the husband. You just knew in your heart of hearts,
yes,
that this is what Maria wanted to do.
Yes.
You kind of felt, it sounds like in the back of your mind, if you didn't take this opportunity, it probably could have prolonged a little bit longer.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, and what happened after that? So you signed the papers and...
Yep, I signed the papers, and then I finally told my brother-in-law, I said, he was packing up a store. He said he rented a storage unit. He was taking stuff to storage. He was taking stuff where it had to go. And I said, okay, well, the last trip, I said, I'll drive. So he packed up the trailer, and I started driving. He goes, where are you going? I said, we're going to storage. And I pulled up in the parking lot. He's like, what are you doing? I said, well, he's like, what did you do? And I said, well, I YOLO'd it.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, YOLO'd it. And I said, yep, you only live once. So I said, this is what I'm doing. So I said, if you want to come, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And he said, okay.
So you kind of just took the plunge, even though you didn't really feel your husband in. And that's a good thing. And just listening to your story, because of course you're still married, right?
Yeah.
Even after all of that has taken
Yes.
place. So it sounds like your husband is a great guy, because, you know, most wives, if they do take that plunge, it could kind of end up a little bit ugly later on down the road. But in your case, it's quite obvious it was meant to be.
Right.
It was meant for you to be here. Okay, so tell me a little bit more. So once you did all of that, the Yoholine and all of that, you set up shop. Once you started building the bakery itself, what was your husband's thoughts after that?
Well, he knew it was my passion, because I told him, I said, I love being a lunch lady, but I don't want to be the lunch lady for the rest of my life. I literally want to roll my way to retirement.
Okay.
So I was still a cook over at Central Middle School, and I had been there for 26 years. And I thought, well, I'll just retire as a cook. You know, I get out at 12:30. I'll have my brother-in-law come here from 9 to noon, and then at 12:30 I'll come here and take over. So then, you know, whatever happens. So we never had to hire an employee. Well, then another job opportunity opened up, and the manager over at PH left. And then my district, then my director called me up and said, I have another opportunity for you. And I just opened the bakery.
Wow.
And she had known it, and she was very supportive of me when she says, well, good for you. I'm glad to hear that, you know. So I did that, and she's like, I want you to be the manager over here.
Oh my word.
So I can see my retirement from the cafeteria of Port Huron High School.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
So at that moment, how did you feel?
I was very overwhelmed. I started to cry because I didn't know what to do, because after 27 years, she, you know, I opened up a business. She saw me for who I was, you know, and she goes, I know you'll make me proud.
So it sounds like she smelled that leadership in you. She seen the potential. She wanted to give you that opportunity, that chance. So when you became management over there, is that kind of where you learned a lot about leadership, cooking?
No, it was actually in the years that I was actually a lunch lady. I took a leadership class back in 2018. My dad taught me a lot. He was a chef when he was younger. When I lived with my parents, he would teach me to cook. And then the ladies who, when I first started, when I was 18 years old, they showed me how to make roux and stuff from scratch, and scratch cooking and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of the kids that I see, they're like, you were my lunch lady. You fed me. You were nice to me. There was kids I didn't even know who they were, and they were coming up to me. I go to Kroger's, and they're like, you're the lunch lady. You're here. You're in Kroger's. And I'm like,
so
yeah,
they know
here.
that face.
Yes, they know me.
Good
yes.
for you. Yeah.
So yeah.
And it just pays, I want to say, to do good due diligence, because people remember you. When you stand out, you're doing a good work, they're always going to refer back to that one person that kind of stood out. And I think I feel that way about your bakery too. You know, the reviews, and you feeding this good desserts to the community, things like that. People order, you have returning customers, so on and so forth. So now, I want to ask, do you have a special ingredient that you use here? Do you have secret recipes? Because most of us aren't going to share
really
our
a secret recipe. It's there when the stuff that we make the cinnamon rolls with. It's just all the memories I have. Like no one can say I was your lunch lady. No one can use that line.
Got it.
Unless they truly were your lunch lady. Like the cinnamon rolls that we roll, they're authentic, from the pans to the rolling pins to the memories to everything. So I even have administrators who remember the cinnamon rolls. And, you know, I fed them to the kids, like they're the class of 2027, they needed a fundraiser. So I said to them, I will make the cinnamon rolls and donate a portion to the profits to you. And they said, absolutely. So, you know, I'm helping the class of 2027. The drama kids, they needed a fundraiser, so we helped them. The yearbook, they needed a fundraiser, so we opened up to them. We opened up to an elementary school. So, yeah.
It's amazing. Now, are you aware that you're one of the top bakeries that has the top cinnamon rolls here in Port Huron, Michigan? Well, you are. Hello. Yes, I heard they are a smashing hit. They are amazing, and I want to say good for you. So this is the reason why I asked, you know, is there secret ingredients? What are you following a recipe yourself? Is it something you
It
guys
was just how
kinda
I was taught.
created?
When I was taught by a lady. Her name was Vicki Hayes. She was very old school. Her mother taught her, and then she taught me. And she always said I was her mother reincarnated because we both lived down Whipple Street.
Mm.
So she says, you even remind me of my mother, just the way you were.
Oh,
And the
that's
lady,
wonderful.
there was a gentleman that came in here, and he kept staring at me, and I said, "Is your mom Roberta?" And he goes, "She is. How do you know her?" I said, "Your mother was so nice to me. She was the cook up at Northern, and she would feed me every day when I went in there for co-op. She took care of me. Then we remained friends. She would come see my kids at school. She would come see me at my house. She recently just passed away, and her son goes, 'You did know my mother?' I said, 'Yeah, you went in her backyard. It was like a beautiful garden and everything.'"
So
Her
it's like,
grandson came
like
in
her
here.
spirit just landed
Yeah.
on you. Oh, that is
Yeah.
wonderful. Now, what is a typical day like for you here?
For here,
Yeah.
well, we open up at 9 o'clock. It's normally cinnamon rolls that we serve. Sometimes we, like our downtime, we'll make the cookies. We make cinnamon rolls. We get people that come in, I'll just talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, you do remember this?" And, we'll just talk, and then sometimes, it just depends. It just depends who walks in.
It just is so every day is a different, it just kind of
Yeah.
differs day by day. Okay, now what about weekends? Is that a little more busy for you guys here?
Weekends are a little bit more busier. We get a little bit more of our, the people who come in for lunch and stuff, mostly breakfast, cinnamon rolls to go. And when we greet you, when you come in, I don't refer to you as a customer. I refer to you as a friend. So it's, "Hey friend, how are you?" I might not remember your name, but, I greet you as a friend because that's just.
And that's part of that warming, welcoming feel that you give people who come into your bakery. And I think that's a great idea because that's what people want. They want to feel like they're coming home to
Yes.
mom's cooking, to grandma's
Yes.
cookies and pies and cinnamon rolls and so on and so forth. Well, good. That's an excellent idea to have. Okay, so I want to ask my next question. Have you ever thought about quitting at any point?
No, because I do enjoy doing this. I really, really do. Some days are harder than others, but we have more good days that outweigh the bad days.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And the reason I wanted to ask that question is because some business owner, when things get tough, they feel like throwing in the towel. So what encouragement can you give to those others who business may not be taking off the way they want, sales are constantly up and down, they're frustrated with the employees? What advice can you give to them as a business owner?
You just have to have faith. You just have to kind of literally roll with it. And that's kind of what we do. We roll with it. When people come in, we might not have what they want right away. They kept asking for donuts. We don't have a fryer here because we don't have a hood system. So we're like, well, what can we do to still offer the people who want donuts? So we did cake donuts because we weren't selling cupcakes, but we can sell cake donuts, and people do like them, so.
Okay. So now, cake donuts, is that considered one of your top sellers, one of your specialties, would you say?
It's more of a, people will get those instead of cupcakes and stuff because they're easier to eat, especially for little kids and stuff. Or if we have one person, they always do donkeys and donuts. So they have done the last 2 events with us. They had us cater it for them. So we done the donut part for them, and then we decorate them to whatever season they need.
Oh, good. So for Halloween, you're dressing them up. Valentine's Day, you're dressing them up.
Yeah.
You're decorating the pastries to their liking,
Yeah.
Maybe a request that may have put it in. And of course, Easter just went by.
Yeah.
So how did that go? Did you have a high sale with the Easter bunny.
Yeah, so they actually did donkeys and donuts, and they wanted
wonderful.
Easter theme,
Good
and they
for
did the
you.
little springtime,
Yeah.
and then we decorated cookies for the Easter theme. We had quite a few people come in for dinner rolls because we hand roll our own dinner rolls, the cinnamon rolls for Easter breakfast. We were also open on Easter, and we had quite a few people come in for, you know, just something quick and easy, you know, as they were passing through, and, you know.
Okay. All right, nice. Yeah, because Easter seems to be a big time for a lot of people. And of course, Easter seems to be the Sunday. Everybody want to go to church. They get all dressed up. Then they come home to this wonderful Easter meal. And then, of course, you got to have your sweets, your pastries on the side. Okay, and my last question to you, Maria. What was the hardest part of opening your bakery?
The hardest part, I didn't want to fail. That was my biggest thing. I was afraid of failing.
Okay. So you kept going regardless of how hard you thought it was going to be, any challenges that may lie ahead. You decided, I'm going to push to the plunge. I'm going to take the lead anyhow.
Yeah,
And you did it.
I did.
And this is where you are today.
Yep. And then I had,
God, amazing.
and when we opened in
Good for you.
January, every coworker that I had that had retired came in here and saw me.
That is wonderful.
I mean, I had so many people from my past come in here to see me, and they're like, you actually did it. And they thought I retired, and I said, not yet. Not yet. 3.5 years, and I'll retire. And I'll have 30 full years then.
30 full years as a bakery,
No, as a lunch lady.
as a lunch lady. Okay, so the lunch lady, it sounds like that's part of your legacy too.
Yes.
You learn how to cook, you put things in and out of the oven, da 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 da, and
Yep.
you kind of brought it over here to your bakery.
Yep, so everything I learned as a lunch lady, I brought here.
Okay.
You know, so basically, our food here brings you back to a simpler time in your life, when you were a kid, when things were easier, when you were in high school. So people remember the cinnamon rolls wrapped in saran wrap, and they would have them, and the one girl said to me, she goes, yep, I used to have the cinnamon roll wrapped in saran wrap, and I shoved it in my pocket,
Oh.
and it was so warm, and I would eat it all day long. And they would drink it with the chocolate milk that they would buy. And the funny thing is one of my friends, her husband is the milkman from the school district, because he used to do, I said, used to get the cinnamon roll with the chocolate milk, and they're like, how did you know? I said, because I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they're not, I'm just saying I'm still the lunch lady.
Absolutely.
And they said they are, and I said, I'm just saying I'm still the lunch lady.
Yeah.
And they remember the pizza with the peaches and the corn and the chocolate milk, and they remember turkey gravy, and they remember all that food they used to eat at lunch. And a lot of them, that was, you know, a lot of kids, that was their only meal. And then when you think about it, a lot of people, that was the best time for them, because they got to see their friends. You know, that's when they made all their memories, when they sat down, they ate.
Absolutely. Now, when you mention the kids, when you were a lunch lady, does some of those kids still come inside of here today just to say hi?
A lot of them I know now, because I'm at the high school. I was there. I've watched them from 6th grade. So a lot of them now, a lot of the 9th graders recognize me, and it's an everyday thing. And they come and they'll tell me stories. They'll tell me about their weekend. They'll tell me about their holiday. They'll tell me about, you know, random weird things, just because they feel safe with me, because they know. And then one of my coworkers, his grandmother used to work in the kitchen, and he's like, you know grandma? And I said, yes, I know your grandma. And he's my age, and I know his grandma.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I know most lunch ladies, the kids put Miss in front of it. So are you known as Miss Maria when the kids see you?
I'm just known as lunch lady.
Oh,
lunch lady, or
Oh.
auntie, or Lewis's aunt, or sometimes
Oh, well,
grandma.
you got a different name. I knew when I was going to school, we had a lot. We would say, that's Mrs. Brown, this is Miss Lita. They were all Miss, but it's changed. Your auntie and your lunch
Yes.
lady.
Or
Got it.
where is she? Where is she? Where is she?
they
You
knew.
know, they know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Well, now, is it possible, can we take a look at some of the pastries here
Absolutely,
today?
yes.
Okay, we'll go.
These are our cinnamon rolls, the ones that we roll.
Wow.
Yep, and then we sell them individually, and that's we normally heat them and we put the icing on them, so all the flavors melt together. Because
Okay.
the best way to eat it is warm,
Okay.
because that's just how we suggest to eat them.
Okay.
And then we added cake pops. We have cookies. We also do a sugar cookie, and then we decided that everybody always has their own touch of cookies. So we decided that if we take frosting, we can make our own decorated cookies.
Okay, got it.
So-
Okay, now you mentioned, was it the Dunkin' Donuts earlier?
Oh, so the donuts are right here. So I'll come around over here.
Okay.
So these are the donuts that we do.
Wow, look at that. How delicious.
So these are our cake donuts, and we cover them with frosting. And we did these in the theme of a spring.
Oh,
So we
I
have our
love that.
ladybugs, we have our rainbows, we did a Dubai chocolate,
Okay.
we have frogs, and we just have our traditional chocolate with sprinkles.
Oh, those are wonderful. And I really love the ladybugs. It's something special for the kids, eh?
Yes.
I'm sure they enjoy the facing, the looks. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous. And once again, you call them the Dunkin'?
So we just call these cake donuts.
Cake donuts.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so
Sharing your
much,
story
Lisa, today. I love it. This is an amazing bakery, and I certainly can't wait to order. All right, Ross. So thank you for joining in with me today. And you are also a partner, and you work here alongside of your sister. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, how is that for you? Working here day to day, providing some of the pastries, the bakes, and doing all that you do. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
It's interesting, a challenge, and it became a almost second nature because I'm a mechanic by trade. That is what I studied and went to school for. But on my way there to support that trade and go pay for schooling, I worked on a few restaurants, which brought me to the ability to open a restaurant, to be a baker, to be a cooker, to understand on how all of the equipment work, on how, I guess, food safety works. Just on my way to thought I would be a mechanic forever. But it's interesting and a fun journey to get here.
Yeah, got it. So it's like a major transition for you, it sounds like.
Yes, it was
Now,
very.
okay, now being here in the bakery with your sister, how much have you learned from the time coming out of the mechanic world or whatever you were doing beforehand? How much have you learned as a cook?
A different type of patience, and I know it's silly, but working with women on a different aspect, because she knows how to make these cinnamon rolls from to a point she can do it in her sleep, and I can't do that. And it took for a little bit with me being a mechanic, my hands didn't roll, wasn't able to fold the cinnamon rolls in the cookie
So it
dough.
didn't come naturally.
No, not at all.
You
It was
just
a
kind of had to watch
yes.
her, take notes.
It
And,
became physical therapy.
Oh, got it. Well, good for you. Well, physical therapy is
Yeah, it
good.
was good, yeah.
Therapy for the hands, I would say.
Yes, it
How?
was. I like the
Needed.
faster rushes when we get busy. I like that. I don't like the boring aspect of the business when we're waiting for the customers.
Got it. So when it's busy, you guys have a large order coming in. That's when you're ready to roll.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
you know that it's going to keep you moving. You're going to give it your all in all. Make it pretty. Do what you guys have to do.
I was here for Easter Rush the week before. I was actually the Easter Bunny out out in the park for the children
Okay.
for another event. So
Oh,
I missed
how
the week
nice.
before. I was not here, but she was doing sales that weekend.
Okay, so did you get the fun of decorating the little cakes and the sprinkles?
Oh,
the bunnies?
yes, I have a natural act to do it now because of the creativity I have. Luckily, our stuff is affordable. It's not like we're doing, $200-300 cake shop.
Okay.
But we'll get there. But
Yes,
then again,
for
once we
sure.
do, we'll start
At the rate
decorating.
that you guys are going, you're going to get there.
Yeah.
I think that's why most people do want to be an entrepreneur or be a business owner, because you're more in control of your schedule. You can maybe visit family when you want to. You can kind of cut the day short. If you got your employees working, you can say, hey, I'll be back at X amount of time. Da 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 da. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today, as always. And yeah, it's a pleasure having you here
All right,
today.
thank you.
All right.
Such a nice lady, eh? I think so too, and her family. So until next time, thank you so much for watching another video, and have an amazing day.